Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and welcome to the final-ish part of the Streets of Rage commentary. I would say final part, but we do also have a sort of separate segment going on, although it's mainly just going to be a second run-through of the final level. This is the penultimate stage, the traditional beat-em-up elevator level, but first I had to pause the game because real-life things interfered. And of course, typical with being an elevator level, unlike most, you actually get to fling people off the stage, which is fun! Because watching people fall off and splat like gelatinous bugs just makes me want to go splat, splat, splutting bugs is where it's at, splat, splat, splutting thugs is where it's at. I think I might have just found the title for this video, if I find something a little bit more poetic. Yeah, you know what, fuck it, it's silly and fun, so I might as well call it that. But yeah, this is also where the Mega Drive begins to make good use of its background artwork as it slowly scrolls upward and you get to see a bit more of the beautiful cityscapes, which again, if I can once again commend the game's graphic designers. Again, like, I mean, Streets of Rage for a Mega Drive game still looks fucking beautiful. Like, I mean, it's not exactly stylized anime kind of thing, but at the same time it also isn't like that well, again, one of my few critiques on stuff like Golden Axe, whatever, it isn't like that pseudo attempt at realism where they couldn't really do it at this point, which ends up looking a little bit awkward as fuck for a lot of Mega Drive games, so yeah, I don't know. I really like Streets of Rage. Like, I mean, it hits the perfect balance between, like, stylization and, well, realism, I suppose. That and also has, like, a lot of depth of scenery and artistic beauty on display, and, I don't know, hits realism and style nicely, so, it earns a plus from me. Unfortunately, however, this is also the last level you'll ever be getting your police buddies helping you out, because, when you enter the final level, you won't have access to the special screen you can attack. So, yeah. If now was ever the time, use it wisely, my friends, because you won't ever get to use it again. Although, then again, like, I mean, if you make the, wrong choice when you get to Mr. X himself, you can get the screen you can attack back by the time you get to the factory level, but, yeah. If you're relying on that a lot to get you out of sticky situations in regards to bosses and such, yeah, you're not going to be able to have that luxury anymore, because the game pulls the rug out from under you, and you're pretty well screwed, dude. But again, like, I mean, the elevator segment here does throw a fair few enemies at you, some a bit more challenging than others, but I don't know. Again, if you know how to throw everybody off and position yourself correctly, it can be a pretty breezy final level, but I don't know. Everything else is just, escalating the game's challenge nicely, as I mentioned in the previous part. And of course I realise, as we go through a gauntlet of everything that we've pretty much done before within the next level or two, I'm not really going to be having much to say, but like, I mean, then again, Streets of Rage as a game is pretty self-explanatory, especially the first one. I mean, I will say this much, the sequels, they make a lot of improvements over the formula, but at the same time, they also tend to get a little bit more, what's the right word for it? No, not abstract. I guess a little bit more, like, no, anime wouldn't be the right word either. I guess a bit more stylized, for the lack of a better phrase? Because, I mean, again, like, I mean, you have, like, 90s as hell, like, street gangs and fucking prostitutes and, like, all this other kind of shit, but again, in Streets of Rage 2, you have fucking robots, ninjas, and a wide variety of settings and secret bases that basically turn Mr. X from, like, you know, a criminal organization kind of do with, like, legitimate business means to conquer the government and all that kind of stuff to, like, fucking Dr. Eggman in some cases, so it becomes very, I don't know, the series does become a little bit more stylized. Some would argue for better or for worse, although, really, like, I mean, Streets of Rage 2 was kind of the beginning of that, so, for what's considered to be the most popular game in the series, you can't exactly blame, like, Streets of Rage 3 or 4 for jumping the shark, as it were. And in Streets of Rage's case, you also have fanciful kangaroos, so, who knows? But again, we're pretty much done here, and fare thee well, Police Officer Duke Oda. Maybe you'll be recommended to another precinct. Although, like, the canonical reason as to why, like, the police don't help you out in Streets of Rage 2, I think the reason was that they either got fired or transferred, so, you know, if you did want to suffer the headcanon that this does take place in the eSWAT universe, who knows, maybe Duke was recommended the power suit. And I mean, I suppose maybe to talk about the similarities between the two franchises, you can kind of see that eSWAT DNA in there somewhat, because in eSWAT's storyline, like, I mean, the city itself, well, the game's title itself on the Mega Drive was City Under Siege, so, yeah, similar gangs conquering everything, albeit Eastward being a bit more futuristic about the whole thing, which, again, given the Streets of Rage sequels, does somewhat fit a little bit. So, anyway. Yeah, you're not going to be fighting any robots here, although Streets of Rage 2 and 3 will take that to extreme lengths. Especially 3, which has a little bit more of a central focus, but... Anyway. To talk about Stage 8 properly, it's very much a gauntlet level. Again, you're facing off against a lot of the enemies that you faced off before. You have these little, like, dinner trays that do pip damage to you. And at the same time, in terms of artistic fidelity, you also have the day-to-night transition. Like, it's very early in the morning, it's dusk, and you will slowly see the world just, brighten up. Like, if you're watching this at, like, 3 AM, you transition to 5 AM before you gotta go to work, and you can see the light sky. And I mean, I'm only really saying that because it's currently still summer in Australia at time of recording, so, yeah, daylight at 5 AM is still a probable thing. And if you're watching my videos at this time of the morning, then, I salute you. But also I'd recommend you get a better sleep schedule, because, take it from me, kids, it can really fuck you up. Especially if you fucking... whatever. Let's just say you don't want to end up like me, kids. Sniff, sob, boo-hoo, dying inside. But again, as with anything else, you're also facing off against a boss rush, and as we can see here, we have a recolor of Boomerang Jack. To talk about Boomerang Jack, since I didn't really have much of a chance to do so beforehand because I'm a waffling nitwit, yeah, he's really nothing to take seriously. The most damning attack of his is that kick of his, which again only really happens if you get close. He does also have his boomerang attack, which you can easily deflect with, you know, a jump kick. But again, he usually does follow up with a quick cereal, Nesquik, strawberry thing, heel snap, whatever. I don't know words. Words know me. But yeah, his health is kind of pish. I mean, he is the first boss in the game, obviously, but again, it's really just down to you knowing what to do, and you should be able to beat him. I don't know if any of these recolors are stronger or weaker than their previous incarnations, but I'm gonna assume no. I suppose it's really just a different coloration, compared to the Jacks here, which do have very different attacks, depending on whether they're Fire Jacks or Axe Jacks, or New Jacks, because wrestling. I mean, we are going up against the... Oh no, wait, hang on. We're gonna have one more boss before we get to the Ultimate Warrior, who will prove his worth against Hulk Hogan again. Nah, queeshed. I will say, compared to some of the other, like, Mr. X lairs seen later on in the series, this one seems significantly less lavish. Like, I mean, he does have, you know, some nice, like, furnishings and, like, some gold statues, but, I think it's gonna go to a rather extreme, man. Like, I mean, this looks more like he decided to hole up in a really nice, like, penthouse hotel suite. Which, I mean, really kind of makes you wonder, like, why the hell all these gang members are being invited to stay here. I mean, I can see why people want to work for this dude. They get to, like, stay in this really nice hotel, but... I don't know, it doesn't really do much to, like, talk about the shithouse city streets that are currently being infested. Also, if I must say, like, I mean, I really do like this design for Freddy Krueger here. I don't know, I just really love flame jackets. And that's what happens when you jump kick. He has, like, the super speed move, and, it sucks. I really wish there was a block attack in this game, or something you could do to at least, like, mitigate his sporadic slash attack, but... I don't know. There's really not much you can do. You can try and get the preemptive and stun lock him if you're fast at it, but again, it really depends on whether or not you're on the same axis as him. Again, if you have him in a lock, I do recommend, like, trying to punch him a couple of times before doing it to get the maximum amount of damage output out of him, but... At the same time, though, there's really no way of knowing, especially considering how sporadic Freddy Krueger is when he comes to slash you. I know these enemies do have names, but I'm sticking with my nicknames for them because I can't be asked to remember them. And also, once again, the pepper spray is useless. And it's actually a weapon that can actually end up backfiring and hurting you immensely, because, like, I mean, if you walk in the radius of an enemy that you just pepper sprayed, like, I mean, Blaze ends up taking a shitload of damage and she ends up dying. Which, honestly, kind of fucking sucks. Like, I mean, it's meant to stun enemies, but it, like, hurts you immensely? I don't know, I guess maybe the implication is that these enemies are used to getting pepper sprayed and slaps on the wrist. Now, due to Wood Oak City's pish justice system, anger, greed, corruption, Batman Beyond. Where are the vigilante superheroes in this universe when you need them? I mean, does Rent-A-Cop or, like, Virtual Cop exist in this universe? Oh god, they're playing tennis with me. Or like, keep away. Keep the blaze away. Ack, wished. But again, like, I mean, it's really... I've really got nothing to say here. I suppose maybe, like, I mean, this level, like, in terms of difficulty isn't so bad, it's just that the game pretty much throws everything in the kitchen sink at you, and again, like, I mean, you do have more than enough of your means to adequately adapt to the challenges ahead, it's just, I don't know. It's a bit of a tall order, I think, to the first-time player to take away their security blanket being the, you know, the special attacks, but at the same time also not giving them, like, I don't know, a few hidden secrets around to maybe give them a bit of an edge. Because, like, I mean, if you're playing on the regularly allotted amount of lives, like, I mean, you're not really going to be having much to give you a bit of confidence. And again, I get it, this is the final level, you want them to be prepared to deal with everything, it's just that, I don't know. It can just be a little bit pish, but again, I think that really does, I don't know. It kind of varies depending on which segment you get up to, but, I don't know. Like, maybe if you, like, jump kick some of the statues, they might give you, like, a few extra weapons, or maybe some, like, health pickups. I mean, you are given a few on the, like, trays and stuff, but I don't know. Again, to kind of clarify my points a little bit more, like, again, when you're dealing with some of the bosses, I mentioned it a little bit earlier with the Blaze Twins and, you know, Freddy Krueger with his slash attack, but I don't know, like, when they give you some pip damage, it's, I don't know. It's a little bit skewed against the player's advantage, and, yeah, it's just a bit of a bugbear, really. Doesn't ruin the game outright, but I mean, it does kind of make it... It does kind of make you go a bit on your toes, which I guess might have been the point, but, neck. And now, we are in the safety of daylight. Well, very early morning, really, so, I guess the gangs ain't going to streets. Although at the same time, though, like, I mean, we don't... I'm trying to think, actually, because if anybody remembers, like, the PlayStation 2 Warriors video game... I think it was developed by Rockstar, like, I mean, didn't that have the game mostly set at night? With, I think, maybe, like, one level at the end of the game where it was, like, in the middle of the day? I don't know. I never owned the game for myself, it's just something I remember from a playthrough with a friend of mine, when he had the game for the PlayStation 2. But again, to show you a little bit more of an efficient strategy against Bongo Bongo Bongo, you don't want to leave the Congo, apart from getting pipped like that. Yeah, this is pretty much what you're meant to do. Just pip damage him and make sure he doesn't get his fire out, because that's when he's at his most dangerous, and will take your health off like nothing else. Well, except for when he slips through your axes like that. And of course, because I'm a fucking child, yes, I'm going to name this the most juvenile thing ever. Because, I don't know, I'm a childish pish. And that's not even the most childish thing, because I regress from like a 14-year-old state of mind and calling it ass to a 6-year-old state of mind in the bonus video. So you'll see it right there. Like, I mean, again, like a lot of these attacks, especially in regards to Bongo here, like, I mean, they are perfectly avoidable. I don't know, it's just that they take off so much of your fucking health that I think maybe giving the player a bit of an extra advantage, I don't know, it would have been appreciated if they had the wherewithal to, like, seek out hidden secrets. I don't know. Maybe it's because, maybe I might be complaining just because, you know, I'm not old school blood. I'm not fucking old school skill, yo. I don't know. By the way, this is the one time I think you meant to see Nora's, like, canonical thing? Or I think that might be the other one. Electra? I can't remember if there's another one, but, yeah, recolored Nora's in white this time. No doubt there to service Mr. X and his children in Streets of Rage 4. Because fuck it, or maybe his robot duplicates. Just daisies, that was a bit of a spoiler. See, look, they've even got a white jack, so, maybe he's bicycle sexual. In fact, to be perfectly honest, I'm kind of surprised I don't actually have some clowns on unicycles. Or motorcycles. Because, Yu-Gi-Oh! Whatever. And I made a big mistake on confronting so many enemies here, which probably wouldn't be quite as pish if you were fighting the Jack alone, but by the way, you can actually deflect his projectiles back at him, but I don't find that to be a very reliable strategy, because I don't think it hits him, or at least I haven't been in a reliable enough position to really get Jack to have his projectiles hit him instead. So again, really, the only reliable way to attack him is just to beat the fuck out of him, make sure he doesn't throw his batons at you. Because he's working in the school play. He's trying to make himself presentable. Although I will say, after this little segment here, we are pretty much right back to, well, the point where I think you're going to get a lot of game overs. Like, I mean, if you manage to go through all of this, this is going to be the biggest life and continues drainers. Although, again, as you're seeing right here, again, if you do know the lives code that you can use by using the second controller, you can mitigate that to a little bit, and again, if you are skilled enough at the game, you can potentially get here without having to do this at all, but I don't know. It's just a bit pish. Oh no, the Blaze sisters are back, and after doing a bit of shopping, they're now with some nice black outfits. Again, I will still say that, like, I don't have much of a strategy against these two women, but the only two things I can really recommend is going to the bottom axis and trying to like, maneuver them over there. The only time you'll really have to hit them is when they do their jump kick attack and land on the specific axis that Blaze is on, and then you pretty much have a chance to just punch them and just sort of whittle them down piecemeal style. Again, it's not very efficient. I think what the game wants you to do is that they want you to, again, do something like that, where basically you go in for the, you know, grapple move and then try and suplex them. But the problem is, they have an equal amount of chance of doing that to you as you do to them, and it's just... It's not reliable because the suplex move takes away a shitload of your own health, so really it becomes a bit of a moot point. And again, as I mentioned in the previous part, to my knowledge, there is no way to get out of that. I mean, if there is, or if there is a way that you can actually pull off that backflip move that the Blaze sisters can do, let me know, because I would like to pull it off someday. But yeah, just stick to the bottom of the screen, keep on punching, and don't stop believing. Because car advertisements, bon, whatever. Which is something I think only Australian viewers are going to get if they have specific viewing habits during the football season, whenever they watch car advertisements. Because television. Yeah, and that's also something you want to avoid doing. You don't want to get in their direct line of grapple, because, again, they don't even have like that degree of delay that you have when you're trying to pull off a move, really, so... yeah. It's kind of irritating to fight these two, and again, as I said before, they are going to be the big lives drainers, and again, since the game kind of recognized that you're going to have to be fighting two of them, yeah, it's kind of a bit pish. And again, that does also kind of go double for if you're using the second player, because again, as I was testing recently, yeah, the game accommodates to having two bosses for the second player to fight, so, kind of makes the game a little bit harder in this case. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to kind of comment on Mona and Lisa, the Blaze sisters as I still call them with my headcanon backstory, they do give them different designs in Streets of Rage 3 when they make their return, and of wildly different attacks, but... I don't know. They're bosses that I really don't like fighting, and even Streets of Rage 3, they tend to have some of the more annoying attacks. Although then again, they do get a bit more of a sci-fi cyberpunk upgrade, as per 1994 Capita, so... who knows, really. That then also does take a while, because again, like, I mean, unlike when you're fighting the bosses solo, yeah, you don't get a health bar to kind of adequately monitor, like, how much damage you're doing, so, yeah, this can kind of turn into a game of, am I hitting them? Am I hitting them? Am I doing any damage? No? Oh, I'm so lonely. I don't know, it's, I just miss my buddies. Duke Oda. Axel Stone, who hasn't shown up at all. Too busy playing video games at his house. And Adam Hunter. No doubt raising a family and a daughter at this point. Who will no doubt go down to star in many video games after this. Assuming a Streets of Rage 5 is in the works. Which, I mean, given the good reception of Streets of Rage 4, I'm kinda surprised they're not acting on. Well, I mean, then again, it is still relatively early days at this point, so who knows what Sega has in the pipes. So, Mr. X, our next bit of story, he asks you to become his right-hand man, and they do not change this dialogue for the fact that Blaze is a woman, so, don't get so excited, boys! Those were the easy ones! But again, say yes, and he'll pretty much say, ah yes, but now you must prove yourself worthy, and basically send you back to level 6, at which point you pretty much have to play the entire game again, up to the point of the final battle, and then Mr. X is pretty much just like, you know what, fuck you, die, and then you get the good ending anyway. So really, it kind of makes this decision a bit pointless, but again, that's what the bonus video was for, and we'll be getting to that next time. In the meantime though, Mr. X pretty much just sits on his throne and just sends goons at you, before eventually deciding to fight you himself. I do quite like the boss arena though, it's pretty nifty. But yeah, after you beat up enough of his goons, he decides enough is enough, and unlike any other goon in the game, he pretty much decides to pick the one thing that you need if you lack courage, a gun. And yeah, Mr. X is without a doubt the most powerful boss in the game. He hits like a truck, and well, the only way you're going to be winning this is if you predict his pattern, really. You can get him into a bit of a grapple hold pretty easy, but again, when he charge rushes you like this, yeah, he pretty much takes over half your health at this point, so yeah. And not to mention, you also have enemies doing that little bit of pip damage to you. So yeah. Let's be childish again and, call it poo. That being said though, I do also really like the final boss theme. Again, I could speak Yuzo Koshira's praises for hours, but... worship him. Worship him. Worship him! But yeah, thankfully we've got enough continues to last us, so yeah, Mr. X is going down. Again, his bullets really don't do that much damage to you, but again, given the fact that he does have rapid fire, it's pish. Again, the worst thing he does is his charge attack, but again, like, I mean, if you get close enough to him, you can also toss him around like this week's, God, I was about to make a very dark joke there, but I'm gonna stop it. Really full of those tonight. Maybe it's, just because it's late. But yeah, he does also have the biggest health bar of them all as well, so, yeah. Like, I mean, again, you're pretty much seeing the pattern for yourself at this point. Like, I mean, he goes from one end of the room, then he goes to the other, then he'll do a little charge attack at you. Once you do a bit of damage to him, or he completes his little, Tommy gun fire there. Really? Why he's using a Tommy gun in what's meant to be the 90s? I have no idea. I thought Thompsons were, like, put out of focus due to, like, something to do with, like, the ammo belt or something? Whatever. I'll question his use of weaponry later, because now Mr. X is defeated! And off he goes to have his brain put in a jar. Or does he? Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. And yeah, that's pretty much the end of the game. Canon ending, and also tallies up how many lives you have left. Although, really, not that it really matters at this point, because you're not really bragging the score. And yeah, I pretty much skipped over a lot of this, and now we get the really cool ending credits theme. Like, honest to God, I absolutely fucking love Streets of Rage 1's ending credits theme. Both for the good ending that you're seeing here, where our heroes are victorious, they've defeated Mr. X. And of course, Adam, Blaze, and Axel get to live on to fight another day with a city out of corruption. After all, there is no accounting for tastes. I mean, bear in mind, a lot of these aliases are pretty much used because, again, this was the time in which developers were pretty sought after. Here they go off and visit their friends and wave goodbye, as the city is now forever safe. Until the sequel. Yeah, I'll pretty much be saving my final thoughts for the bonus video, but, yeah. I don't know. It's a really somber theme, and it really does settle the fact that the battle is over, we've won, and by God, Axel looks incredibly fucking goofy in that pose. He kind of has like a bit of a Sylvester Stallone look to him, actually, which is a bit bizarre. But yeah, I don't know, Streets of Rage. Great game, a lot of fun. Animation. Yeah, they pretty much drop our heroes off to watch the sunset, together, as friends. Actually, a really beautiful looking sunset for Mega Drive standards, actually. I mean, again, like, I mean, this is kind of a distant shot, so, yeah, pixel count isn't exactly high, but... I don't know. This really does seal the good ending, and, again, as a canon one, and you really don't have to go out of your way to unlock it, makes you really feel kinda good. The city is safe, the night sky is free, and people can return to their homes. The end. Or is it something more? Well, on that note, I am Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, and next time on the Streets of Rage commentary, well, we're gonna be seeing a very different path. So, see you dudes and dudettes next time, and I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.